Welcome back to our project here on Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and we're following along the process for preventing a sewer backup in your basement. Let's head back downstairs now, catch up with our master plumber, Denis Nowak from Clearview Plumbing. Wow, Denis, I'm amazed at how quickly you're completing this project, and it must be working. Look at all the water flowing out of the drain tile into the sump crack.
Right, this is the main drain tile along this foundation right here. This is our Palmer valve. This is the line that came from the footing down to here, and we had another connection here that tied in and went into your sanitary sewer. Now we've cut that. It's hard to see the hub, but we cut that and put a fern coat on there and capped that, so that's now isolated completely. Now we have nothing but our drain tile from here and from that footing draining into the sump crock. What we ended up doing for this line coming through is we cut a piece out over here, a 12-inch piece of this drain tile, and we looked down into it and seen that there's no other connections coming in, plus we knew where to put our crock with that investigation.
And one thing that was interesting for me to take a look at was the old drain tile. I mean, you mentioned previously you don't know what you're going to encounter until you start pulling it up, but is this pretty typical? I mean, look at how filled with mud that is inside.
Yeah, that's pretty typical for what you get. This is the bottom of it. The silt and soil is going to sit on there. The water, it will still flow through it. I mean, there are no mechanical joints on it. They're just butted up together.
So it's almost similar to in agriculture, in a farmer's field, in a low area when they used to tile those fields, they'd just butt these things up against each other, and it looks about a 3-inch pipe.
Right. Typically, they're 3-inch that we found out in this area. Some are 4-inch. It is an effective system, and it has worked. It's just that, getting the load off of the sanitary sewer is what we're trying to do. So.
And again, this isn't like your typical modern-day plastic drain tile,
Correct.
Nor is it consistent pattern. I mean, this is, like you mentioned, a spider web tying in, so you never know what you're going to encounter until you dig it out.
Correct. Sometimes there's, like I said, 1, 2, or 3 connections coming in the crock. You don't know until you open it up and investigate. You have a pretty good educational guess, but until you open it up, you don't know what you're getting into.
And again, that's a good point. There's no substitute for experience, so even an experienced plumber like yourself coming in solving a problem like this, you don't know for sure what you're going to encounter. But at the end of the day, the most important aspect is where that Palmer valve is down there. It seems to me you want to make sure that that is capped off so that none of the surface water can enter the sanitary
Exactly.
district.
You don't want anything coming back into here into your sanitary sewer and adding to the load that's in the streets.
Okay, well, why don't we get out of your way, let you finish up. We'll talk about the discharge in a few minutes.
Okay.
Wow, Denis, it's looking just great. And shortly after we left our last segment, I noticed the building inspector came by. So this does require a licensed plumber to do this type of work.
That's right, Stu. We got to make sure that he sees the Palmer valve that's disconnected and capped off. He wants to see those drain tiles be 1, 2, or 3 connections coming into the crock, and then he signs off on it, and we can go ahead and backfill everything at that point.
Sure, and I noticed that he was also looking at how you discharged it. In this case, you took it all the way over here and out.
Right, yeah, he wants to know where we're going to be discharged and make sure it's going on a grass area and not in a concrete area or would be obtrusive to anybody walking or any kind of problems per se in the winter if something be icing up or that kind of deal. Yeah.
Seems to me that discharge option, you shouldn't minimize that if you're a homeowner. I mean, give some serious thought to it. Lean on your plumber for direction.
Yeah, that's very important to know where you're going to go with it because you can easily come back to the house and you're recycling it constantly. You want to get a discharge at least 6 to 10 feet away from your house. We come out above grade here so it can get away. You can also bury it if you want, if you have an option where the grade slopes away from your house. You can get it out even further away.
But again, talk to your plumber about that.
Right.
Talk about the different options.
Right.
And really, there's no reason for not taking care of this, because as we've seen throughout today's show, this is a huge problem, a huge strain on the public sanitation system. And even though it's just one home, you came in and solved probably hundreds, if not thousands, of gallons of water from going into the system. It's just being discharged out harmlessly onto the lawn.
Oh, easily, yes. Definitely we discharge a lot of the water through there that instead of going in the sanitary sewer. In a heavy rain, you know, you don't know how much water is going down there, but it's gallons and gallons and gallons all the time. So the one thing that we say that in this situation, they say they don't need this stuff because it's never been flooded. As soon as we put these sump pumps in, they've been discharged and they've been doing their job. So the problem that they never knew they had, they actually do have, and now it's being alleviated going onto the ground and going off away from the house.
And that's the sound of experience. There's no substitute for experience. So if you're a homeowner, do your homework, get the right company for the job. And again, I just can't stress enough. I came down here, I was expecting it to be a lot messier. You made it look easy, but at the end of the day, the homeowners have a minimal mess, yet they're doing their part to solve the big problem. Thanks a lot for coming on and walking us through the process.
You bet, thank you.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.